This is the JMU Video Network. We're tuned in to you.
Stand by, everyone. We're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll open.
Tape roll.
Give me full sound on tape.
Sound up full.
All cameras, set your shots. We have 30 seconds to the studio. CG, check the titles for the talent, please. Stand by to cue announce and cue announce.
This week on JMU Today, we examine Harrisonburg's DUI program and some alternative programs. And coming up later on the program, field producer Jackie Terry takes a look at the modern chimney sweep.
Ready, tape in 2, and take it.
Now, live from the Television Production Center on the campus of James Madison University, this is JMU Today.
Hello and welcome to JMU Today. I'm Anne-Marie Sims.
And I'm Daniel Bryant. Coming up, we've got a story on how Harrisonburg is combating the drunk driving problem. So stay tuned for that.
AIDS is the subject of much discussion these days. The AIDS teleconference, which took place Friday, November 17th, was one such discussion. The teleconference, which was sponsored by the College of Nursing, the Health Center, and the Office of Residence Life, focused on the issues to be faced by universities in the coming years. Groups at JMU are working to integrate their efforts at promoting AIDS awareness.
One of our big concerns here in the campus is not only that we work at awareness and behavior change, but that we integrate the various efforts that are afoot among many of us, our department, Residence Life, Health Center, and other groups on campus, that we find some ways to integrate our efforts to make them as effective as possible. Because I think it's a very personal thing. It affects people very personally, and we have to find out what are the best ways to really help people not only have the information they need, but then look at how they want to change their own behaviors in ways that will protect themselves and others.
The Nursing Department, the Health Center, and the Valley AIDS Network together are sponsoring an AIDS awareness to be held in late January, and the Office of Residence Life will be incorporating an awareness into residence hall programs during the spring semester.
Have you ever felt lightheaded, suddenly cold or feverish, with your heart beating a little faster than it should? Or you may be suffering from panic attacks. Many Americans are prone to these attacks, and no one is positive as to what causes them. There is help, though. A support group has been formed in Harrisonburg for people with the panic personalities. Group spokeswoman Linda Stover says that if anyone is having problems with these panic attacks, to call her for more information. Her number is 289-5505.
Driving under the influence of alcohol is a terrible habit of many Americans. Recently, however, with such a media blitz against drinking and driving, a number of programs have begun to appear in communities to keep drunk drivers off the road for good. Kevin Schultz reports on what the Harrisonburg City Police and local chapter of Virginia Alcohol Safety and Awareness Program are doing to stop drunk drivers.
In the Commonwealth of Virginia alone, 48,000 people are arrested every year while driving under the influence of alcohol. JMU and its surrounding community of Harrisonburg make up a portion of the statistic, and one organization not blind to this problem is the Harrisonburg City Police.
We don't set up roadblocks to look for DUIs. We just make our officers aware of what to look for a drunk driver, and the officer on patrol, we feel, is going to have a better chance of running into the person who's inebriated and driving than the person in a routine roadblock type situation.
The unfortunate responsibility of keeping those drunk drivers off the road is not an easy task. However, Wilfong says there are a number of ways that the drivers reveal themselves to an officer.
Whether it be driving the wrong way on a one-way street, driving erratically, driving with headlights on high beam, stopping inappropriately for a traffic light, running a traffic light, anything like that that an officer sees that is out of the ordinary would draw his attention to that driver and give probable cause for a stop.
After being arrested for DUI, the driver is taken to jail. Allowing for a period of time for the driver to sober up, the magistrate then sees the offender and assigns a court date. On court day, the judge gives two options to the driver. He can accept the usual $250 fine and 6 months license suspension, or opt to get into the ASAP program. Case manager Pam Simmons says there is quite an incentive to choose the judge's offer of ASAP.
If they choose to participate in ASAP, then he suspends 5 months of the 6 months license. And if they choose ASAP plus a community service program that's also available, then he suspends the whole 6 months. So they don't lose their license at all.
The main goal of ASAP is to keep offenders from repeating their drunk driving. The program, funded totally by the participants, assigns either education classes and/or treatment to the offender.
After they complete their program, they're called back in for an interview with their case manager. And at that time, if everything's going okay, they're still on probation, but they're not actually called in.
Although the ASAP program is expensive and time-consuming, many participants find the program very rewarding.
You are. The age group ranged from high school students to people in their 60s. In fact, I was probably the minority there. Most of the people were over 30 to 40, so you realize that it's not, just college kids and high school kids that are abusing it. There's a lot of people out there besides us. I feel that probably is the biggest lesson I learned.
Now I'm driving, I won't drink nearly as much as I used to. I used to not consider it as much, but probably a lot of that is because of ASAP, too, because of the things that they taught you or told you there. Because otherwise I might have waited out my 6 months not driving and then been, ready to party and start driving again. So I think they were definitely beneficial.
In Virginia, almost 500 people are killed every year due to alcohol-related accidents. Virginia ASAP does not claim to reduce this number to 0. However, Simmons says that the estimated 25,000 people that go through the statewide program are that many less drinking and driving or causing fatal accidents again. Reporting for JMU Today, I'm Kevin Schultz.
Most Americans still don't understand a serious threat to the Earth's climate. A recent survey shows that while 70% of the adults have heard of the greenhouse effect, only 41 linked it to global warming. The New York Power Authority performed the survey and reported that 36% of Americans had no idea as to what the greenhouse effect is. Scientists say that the effect is derived from an accumulation of carbon dioxide and other gases in the atmosphere. These gases trap heat, and they have the potential to raise the Earth's temperature. Chlorofluorocarbons and burning fossil fuels are thought to be the culprits of this. While Americans do not seem to be too concerned about the problem, scientists warn that it could drastically alter our weather and climate if precautions are not taken soon.
Well, Danny, this is something really serious. I know it's been in the news a lot lately, and people say, I'm a drop in the bucket. If I try to help the environment, it's not going to work. But if everybody does something, then it will.
Definitely will. Well, stay tuned. Coming up, our very own Jackie Terry has a look at the chimney sweeping profession. So stay tuned for that.
Back in a moment.
Yes.
Nick at Night presents Giants of Broadcasting. Tonight, SCTV's Johnny LaRue. Producer, performer, fitness expert.
And 1 and 2.
Mastermind of SCTV classics like Lunchtime Street Beef, Cooking with LaRue, Jumping for Dollars. Making deals or making casseroles, his vision astounded a generation.
I like broads. A lot.
Don't let broadcast history pass you by. Watch the Giants of SCTV every night at 10:30, 9:30 Central on Nick at Night.
Top Event brings the movies home.
Come back to me, Gage. Come back to us.
Paramount Pictures presents Stephen King's all-time best-selling tale of horror. Pet Cemetery.
Call 263-1989.
Last night was nice.
It was wonderful.
It was a mistake.
Nothing was happening, okay? I mean, I just wanted to... I want to know what you were doing in his bed.
So you want me to punch you some coke?
Look, I already had it set up. I just needed this stuff or they're going to go somewhere else.
Being paranoid.
I have to be. It's well known that he does not admire gays.
This week on Top Event.
Say goodbye, my friend. Jean-Claude Van Damme has become the first hero of the 21st century. Cyborg.
Just call 263-1989.
Studying is not the only thing that students have to worry about. For many, making money while at school is a necessary aspect for survival. In order to pay bills, students at JMU don't have to look any farther than campus to find jobs.
Notices around campus. Anyone who wants to sign up can do it, and it's based on you take a test at the end of they do like 4 clinics.
Convenience, good pay, and scheduling flexibility are some other benefits to working for JMU. Part of the attraction is the social interaction that takes place with others while working.
Come in, you know, the people you wait on, you'll see them again the next day on campus and they'll recognize you sometimes.
Students interested in a job can get an application from an office or department they wish to work for. The Financial Aid Office also has additional information on campus employment. Most jobs start above minimum wage.
When thinking of chimney sweeps, the movie Mary Poppins may come to mind. Nowadays, they're not seen dancing and singing on rooftops. These professionals can be found working diligently, making our homes safer places to live. Film producer Jackie Terry takes a look at the profession and how it has changed.
Chimney sweeping has been around since the 19th century. Top hats and coattails became a trademark for this demanding profession. A lot has changed since then. Chimney sweeps have replaced their outdated equipment with large metal brushes, vacuum systems, and electrically powered rotary cleaners. Now they even have video cameras that can be dropped down inside the chimney to check its condition. Chimney sweeper Rick Augsburger says that with a change in technology comes a change in the image.
The image has changed. It used to be more of a top hat and tails traditional type image, and now it's a little bit more technical, and we like to think of ourselves as educated service people.
Even though their image is changing, the chimney sweeper's goal remains the same, preventing fires and keeping homes safe. With the onset of the cold winter months, more homes will rely on their fireplaces and wood stoves for heat. But before lighting up, it's a good idea to clean up.
We recommend that residents have their chimney cleaned professionally at least once a year. And I say professionally because a lot of people will go out and tell you that they clean the chimney themselves and that takes care of the problem. And while they may do a very good job at removing the bulk particles that are clinging to the inside of the chimney liner, they're not doing a very good job of scraping the creosote and so forth off the chimney liner.
Creosote is a tar-like substance that builds up inside a chimney when wood is burned. If left over periods of time, it may cause a serious chimney fire.
The important thing is to make sure that the creosote is removed and the chimney is clean and in good structural condition, so that if a chimney fire does occur, it'll be contained in the chimney and will not spread to the structure itself.
So chimney sweeping is an indispensable profession. Old methods have died, but an admiration for tradition lives on.
Just got a little romance to it, I guess. You know, it's an fairly old profession. It's done quite a bit differently now, of course. But I guess it's just that little bit of, you know, oddity to it. It makes it a little interesting.
For JMU Today, I'm Jackie Terry.
Just in time for Christmas.
Yeah, it kind of puts you in the holiday spirit.
It sure does.
Mike Caldwell will be in with sports in a few minutes, so stay with us.
Back in a moment.
Please help me.
In the deep, dark pit of the night,
It chased me. It jumped for a while, and then it was just gone.
a cat possessed by the soul of a woman.
When you're dealing with the devil himself, anything's possible.
Nightmare Classics, The Eyes of the Panther. Starring C. Thomas Howell and Daphne Zuniga, exclusively on Showtime.
Nostalgia is proud to present the Narrative Television Network, a unique service for the visually impaired. Featuring great Hollywood movies like A Star is Born, NTN adds a narrator to cover action not covered in the dialogue.
Hi, I'm Jim Stovall, president of the Narrative Television Network. The Narrative Television Network is designed to bring blind and visually impaired people the highest quality television and movie programming in a format they can fully enjoy.
Sundays at 11 Eastern on Nostalgia.
And Mike's in the studio with sports. Take it away, Mike.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Caldwell, and welcome to Duking It Out. The JMU football team closed out the season with last Wednesday's practice. Their scheduled game last weekend against Northeastern was canceled because of a measles outbreak at the Boston school. Infected players were quarantined in Massachusetts, so Northeastern offered to pay all expenses and have the Dukes fly to Boston and play the Huskies there. Joe and the boys said, no thanks, and the Duke season was history. The Dukes finished their year at 5-4-1. So the Duke season is over, but for a member of their coaching staff, a career at JMU is over. Madison offensive coordinator Herky Billings announced his resignation late Monday afternoon. Billings had served as the Duke's offensive coordinator since 1985, the same year head coach Joe Persicki took the helm. For some hint as to why Billings may have resigned, let's take you back to the 5th week of the season. That's Garrett Washington going in from 2 yards out. This touchdown and the subsequent extra point are the only points scored by the Dukes in the second half of their 4 losses this year. Enough said. The New Look women's basketball team is up in Boston, Massachusetts in preparation for Friday's opener in Boston College. Before they left, Sheila Moorman's Lady Dukes battled a Hungarian club team in an exhibition contest. The Dukes lost by a bucket, but the 1989-90 smaller and quicker edition of JMU more than held its own against a team whose average height is taller than the tallest Duke. If the women are going to extend their conference title streak to 5 in a row, the ladies will have to do it in an unfamiliar fashion, with speed and quickness rather than size. This year's team features only 2 players over 6 feet tall, and they are both just 6'1", and that's pretty tall.
You know, when you're getting beat inside, it's a twofold problem. It's one, you're not pressuring the ball enough on the perimeter, and 2, you're not getting the job inside. It's not just that player that's matched up on that post.
Keep in mind, as conference play draws near, that Moorman's Dukes have won 44 consecutive conference games. You can be sure the rest of the CAA will be shooting for the undersized Dukes this season, knowing that it could be the best chance in recent times to knock the Lady Dukes from the CAA women's throne. The JMU soccer team has been honored with a handful of postseason awards. Defender Stephen Gill was named a first-team All-State defender, while teammates Scott Davis and Chris Simon were given honorable mentions. Simon, Davis, and Gill anchored a 15-1-3 1989 soccer squad that narrowly missed receiving its first NCAA bid. Coach Tom Martin has been named the Division I Coach of the Year. Congratulations to those 4 men, and thanks again for a fine season. For the first time in 40 years, the United States will send a team to the World Cup Soccer Championships. The U.S. advanced to the finals by posting a 1-0 victory over Trinidad and Tobago. The last time the U.S. made the 2014 final, it upset a powerful England squad in the first round 1-0. This year's championships will be held in Italy next summer. The beat goes on for a couple of local teams in the NCAA soccer tournament. The University of Virginia advanced to the round of 8 by blasting Philadelphia Textile by a 4-1 score. The Cavs next face South Carolina this Sunday. The Howard Bison also made one step closer to returning to the final game as they edged SMU 2-1 in overtime. The Bison will battle the Indiana Hoosiers also on Sunday. Both sites will be determined later this week. The JMU men's basketball team is in Hawaii gearing up for this weekend's Maui Classic. The Dukes open the season against an old foe of lefties, none other than Dean Smith and his 7th-ranked North Carolina Tar Heels. Well, that does it for sports. Dan and Anne-Marie.
Well, I'll tell you, Mike, I wish I was in Hawaii right now. That would be very nice.
Oh, yeah, with this cold temperature,
I know.
anybody would wish to be in Hawaii.
That's like a vacation.
But the Dukes are up against the Tar Heels, and maybe they'll be enjoying the sun, but they may not enjoy the game.
Well, hopefully it'll go on well.
Yeah.
Well, stay tuned. We've got an interesting story on race car racing, if you believe that. So stay tuned for that.
Back to moment.
When a woods arsonist strikes, he chooses the time and the place. And the woods, property, and even people are fair game for his crime. Well, fair is fair. And a crime is a crime. the next time a woods arsonist strikes? How about if we choose the place and we choose the time?
If you love the thrill of watching race cars but can't afford to go to Indianapolis or Daytona, then maybe you should look behind the JMU Convocation Center. That's where field producer Drew Hansen discovered the fast-paced world of auto racing in miniature.
Here they are, folks, the radio-controlled NASCAR miniatures lined up and ready to start racing. They're off and heading into the first turn. Ouch, try not to hit those pylons there. There's Richard Petty's number 43, and there's Darrell Waltrip's tie box. Mark Martin Stroh's car seems to be having a bit of trouble, but that won't keep it out of this race. These cars can take just about anything. Men from the JMU Telecommunications office have been out here racing these cars a few times a week since last spring, but the new pavement on the Convocation parking lot has taken some of them longer to adjust to than others. Radio-controlled car enthusiast Darren Drury says that all the cars are built to race about the same, but some racers tend to do better than others.
Bob Goodman, who drives the number 3 car, which you see right there, and Pete Schiffler with the number 17, the Darrell Waltrip car, which is the Tide car. Both of them have had some experience in radio control stuff. I'm not saying that's an advantage, but Pete, he flies a lot of aircraft and stuff. He's familiar with the radio controls and how they handle and stuff like that.
Sometimes the racers take these races very seriously, but today is just a practice run. Good thing. They may not be as large as real cars, but they do go rather fast.
With the motor and the gear that we're running in them right now, we measured them once on a measured course, and we figured at top speed we were hitting about 35 miles an hour.
After the racing, there's time for a little fun of a different sort. It's okay, folks. These cars are built to handle just about anything. Of course, like real NASCAR racers, these guys love to show off their cars to the camera. That's the miniature Mark Martin Stroh's car and, of course, Darrell Waltrip's Tide box. The cars are assembled from the ground up. A plastic shell is placed over the motor, then each man paints his car to resemble the car of his favorite driver. Drury says it's a surprisingly inexpensive hobby once you get started.
So the parts, once you got the basic car and everything, you know, you can go from there and not have to spend a whole lot of money on them. We've had a ton of fun out of these things since spring, and just the little bit of money we've put into it.
Pete Schiffler also races the cars and says the racing is a great way to relieve stress.
And have fun, lunchtime, take a little relaxing, you know, and run them around. Have a little bang them up and then walk away from it. You know, it doesn't really hurt you. Just your pride every once in a while gets hit.
Although the models may not be as large as the real thing, they're at least as much fun to drive and a lot less expensive. For JMU Today, I'm Drew Hansen.
If you happen to use the diet supplement L-tryptophan, stop. The Food and Drug Administration has made a nationwide recall of the drug, which is suspected of causing a fatal blood disorder. Although the government is still not sure how the drug causes the illness, they do know what occurs within the victims. The disorder causes an unusual increase in white blood cells, muscle and joint pain, swelling of arms and legs, and fever. In the past few weeks, 300 people have been reported to have the illness across the country. L-tryptophan did not have to go through FDA's thorough pre-market testing because it was sold over the counter in health stores.
JMU's final home game of the season was canceled due to a measles outbreak on the campus of Northeastern University. Special segments producer Mike Caldwell shows what might have happened had the Dukes met the Huskies last Saturday in the first ever Measles Bowl.
Sellout crowd in the JMU home stands, somewhat less for the measles-stricken visitors. For our game of what could have been, the participants have opted to shed their helmets. This should favor the thicker-skulled Dukes. Madison got off to a quick start in this one. Speedster Mike Caldwell takes the opening kickoff at the 10, breaks the tackle, and scampers 90 yards for the score. And would you look at this spike? Bo knows football, but Mike likes spikes. Northeastern takes over. Let's go to the field for the call.
Red 18! Red 5! Red Shelton! Blue! Blueberries! Blueberries! Hut, hut!
Defensive pressure forces the Huskies to give up the ball on downs. JMU 21-zip after 1 quarter of play.
2 medium pizzas on sale at Pizza! Hut, hut, hut!
Things got worse for Northeastern's spotty defense as Duke's quarterback Mike Caldwell finds himself deep in the end zone, where a Northeastern defender finds himself confronted with a classic dilemma, the nightmare of 2 Caldwells and 1 ball. JMU continued its rout, taking a seemingly insurmountable 42-0 lead into the locker room.
380 minus 370 equals 10. Hut, hut.
The big story, second half, JMU. Turnovers, no points. Northeastern comes back, scoring 42 unanswered points in the second half. Plays like this, where the quarterback has all day to pass, gave Northeastern time to do their favorite end zone ritual, the measle. With the score tied at 42-all, JMU finds itself on the 1-yard line with just 5 ticks of the clock remaining. Coach Persicki sends on the field goal unit for an unprecedented 115-yard field goal attempt. The snap is good. The hold is good. The kick is up. It's up. It's still up. It's up. But the band doesn't care. It's good. Oh, I don't believe it. JMU wins 45-42. We go to an emotional Coach Joe Persicki for comment.
I'll die. They'll be knocking the nails in the coffin, Darryl. And I'll never, never be prouder of a group of young guys than you guys. I love you.
And we love you too, Joe. For JMU Today, I'm Mike Caldwell.
You're going to say something.
Well, I tell you, Mike, that would have been very exciting had we had a measles bowl here at JMU.
It sure would have been.
Yeah, it would have, but, you know, all funniness aside, it's just too bad for the players that they didn't get to play their final home game here. It's been a frustrating season for them, and we've kind of given them a hard time here in our sportscasts and all, but they showed a lot of promise, and it's just too bad for the seniors.
I was looking forward to the game, but at least they got an early break.
But also, it was band parents' weekend this weekend, I believe, and the band went ahead as scheduled and did their show, so their parents didn't come for naught.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah, well, speaking of football, this Thursday, not only with Thanksgiving, you've got a couple football games, a double bill on tap. So what are you guys going to do?
Tune in.
Yeah, tune in.
Definitely.
I don't know. I might be eating turkey.
Oh, yeah. Stuffing and dressing and everything. The works.
Exactly. Wow. I'll be going over the river and through the woods to do the same thing myself.
Well, that about does it for this week's edition of JMU Today. From all of us here, we say have a happy Thanksgiving and tune in next week.
Happy holidays. Bye-bye.
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 And I'm your friend to the end.
Two miracle cars drive the excitement weekdays on the Family Channel.
Hey, it's the Batmobile.
Let's get going and make an emergency bat turn.
Funtown, Batman, weekdays at 5.
Show me some of that hot shot driving I was talking about.
Then Hardcastle and McCormick ride the Coyote for more four-on-the-floor action.
Nino, Kino, Blasto, Zowie.
Batman at 5. Hardcastle and McCormick at 6 Eastern, weekdays on the Family Channel.
Stand by, everyone. We're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.